Okay, so today we're diving into something a little different. Children's books,
Okay.
but with a twist,
Mhm.
right? We're not talking about, the traditional fairy tales.
Right.
We're looking at the adventures of Yema Le Buebo and vegetables.
Interesting.
And honestly, this book, it's challenging assumptions left and right. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually, when I first heard about it, it really piqued my interest.
Yeah.
You don't often see children's literature going in this direction, tackling health and well-being.
Exactly. And framing it as a superpower, which is
Especially, yeah, that's the really unique part, I think.
yeah, absolutely. And we were lucky enough to get our hands on some excerpts from an interview with the authors.
Oh, wow.
And this is the coolest part, it's a father-daughter team.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
I know. And they created Yema Le Buebo, this detective who, get this, solves problems with nutrition.
Okay, so how does that work? Like, what kind of mysteries are we talking about here?
Right. It's not your typical detective story, that's for sure.
Mhm.
But it really makes you think, right?
It does. It makes you wonder, like, have we been approaching this whole idea of healthy living the wrong way?
Maybe. It's
Yeah.
like, what if, instead of focusing on all the things you shouldn't do, we focus on the power of what you can do?
Yeah, and that's what they're doing with Yuma, showing how good nutrition can be a source of strength.
It is fascinating, and it makes you wonder if there's a bigger shift happening. Like, are we starting to rethink how we present healthy choices to kids?
I think we might be, because let's face it, the old eat your vegetables lecture, it doesn't always work.
No, it doesn't. And this book, it doesn't shy away from the consequences of unhealthy habits either. Like, they have this character, Grizzly Krieg,
Okay.
and she's kind of the anti-hero. And honestly, she sounds a lot like, well, everyone I know.
Uh-oh, in what way?
Staying up late chatting, blasting music, practicing dance moves when they should be sleeping.
Oh, no, not the dance moves. Sounds familiar, though, I have to admit.
Right. They really nailed that relatable everyday struggle.
It's smart, though, Instead of just preaching, they've created a character who embodies those pitfalls.
Exactly.
But in a way that's humorous, relatable.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do you think that showing versus telling would work better for you? Like, would you be more receptive to that than a straight-up lecture?
100%.
Yeah.
Especially as a kid. It just feels less like a lesson and more like you're in on the joke.
Exactly, you're not being talked down to.
And you know what else is interesting about this book? The format.
Oh, yeah. What about it?
It's written like a play.
Yeah.
Yet each character's line, it's formatted like they're on stage.
I like that. I haven't seen that before. There's something really clever about that, though, isn't there? When you think about how kids learn best,
Right.
it's like they're almost gamifying healthy living without even trying.
Yeah, exactly.
And that theatrical format, the way it encourages kids to embody the characters and their choices, it could make the message much more engaging.
Yeah, because it's not just reading. It's almost like they're participating in the story.
Exactly.
And it sounds like they really bring this, like, action and adventure to life in their first book.
Yeah.
Like, there's this whole thing with Yema Le Buebo helping an ultramarathoner.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
It's not just about, eating your broccoli.
Right.
It's about having the energy to do these amazing things.
Yeah, it's about resilience, right? Like
Yeah.
giving your body what it needs to really perform at its best.
Exactly. And I'm kind of curious, like, how Grizzly Krieg, with her, shall we say, interesting habits,
Right.
tries to help in her own way.
I know. It makes you wonder, like, what kind of chaos is she going to bring to the table?
Right.
But you know what I think is really cool? The authors mentioned this is just the first book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's going to be a whole series.
I love that.
So much potential there, right? To explore all different aspects of healthy living.
And it really seems like they're really passionate about this message, right?
No, absolutely. It comes through loud and clear. And it's not just talk either.
What do you mean?
They actually live it. Like, they walk the walk when it comes to healthy habits.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
It is. It adds a whole other level of authenticity to what they're doing, don't you think?
For sure. Because if you're going to, preach about something, gotta live it too, right?
Exactly. You said it. And especially when you consider, remember they talked about the lack of positive role models?
Right.
Like, they just didn't see that growing up.
Yeah.
And it makes you think, it's one thing to tell kids, hey, eat healthy, but to actually show them, to embody those choices yourself. That's powerful.
It's like actions speak louder than words, right?
100%.
Yeah.
It's less about lecturing and more about leading by example.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, have we, like, as a society, have we dropped the ball a little bit?
In what sense?
Like, on showing kids what healthy living looks like in a positive way.
Interesting question.
Because we're so focused on the don'ts, right? Like, don't eat this, don't do that.
Right.
Have we forgotten to celebrate the good stuff, the joy of taking care of yourself?
It's definitely something to think about. And you know what's interesting? These authors, they don't shy away from that joy at all.
Yeah, how so?
Even in the way they talk about Crisley Krieg, the not so healthy character.
Right.
They could have easily made her like this one-dimensional villain.
Right.
But they give her depth, humor. She's relatable. Even
Yeah.
she's a product of her environment. Her struggles are real, even if they're presented in this funny way.
And that's what makes it so clever, right? Because it's real life.
Exactly.
And it's not just the characters. They actually designed them, too.
Wait, really? Like the visuals and everything?
Yeah, from scratch. They
Well-
poured so much into this project. It's incredible.
That's amazing. Talk about commitment.
It's really inspiring.
It really is. And the best part is they're not stopping there.
No.
They're already thinking bigger picture.
Yeah.
Like illustrations for the second book are in the works.
Cool.
And they even mentioned potentially turning it into an animation.
Oh, wow. That would be amazing. Can you imagine, like, Yema Le Buebo on the big screen?
Oh, it would be huge.
Battling it out, powered by, like, spinach and kale.
And kids would love it, which is,
Yeah.
the whole point.
Exactly.
It just shows you how committed they are to making a difference. They saw this gap, this need for like positive role models when it comes to health.
Right. And especially in media, right?
Exactly, for kids especially. And they didn't just sit around talking about it. They actually did something.
They took action, yeah.
They got creative, tapped into their own experiences, and bam.
And created something really special.
Exactly. It makes you realize, like, we can all do that in our own way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, we don't have to write a book.
Right, but we can all be those examples.
Right. Like, through the choices we make every day.
Exactly. Whether it's, choosing a salad over fries.
Or just, like, getting outside more.
It all adds up, We
Yeah.
can all contribute to making healthy living the norm.
Exactly. It's like we've been talking about this amazing book,
Yeah.
but it's bigger than that.
Oh, for sure.
Mm.
It's about the power of storytelling, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Like, they had this idea, they put it out there, and who knows how far it'll go.
Right. That's what's so exciting. You never know who you might inspire.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into Yema Le Buebo and this whole new way of thinking about healthy living,
Yeah.
I got to ask you,
Sure.
if you could create a superhero, right, who champions healthy habits,
Okay.
what would their powers be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What would they be like? What would their adventures be?
So many possibilities.
Right. I think that's a good place to leave it, right? With a little food for thought, literally.
I like it.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and maybe, just maybe, you'll create the next generation of healthy living heroes.
Yeah, that's a thought.